All right, I'm gonna ring that bell.
All right.
Cool. Hey everybody, welcome to Fairbanks, Alaska video number 2. In this week's video, you're gonna see us checking out some planes, trains, and automobiles. Yeah, we're hitting those museums again. Come along and see what we saw. We have made it to the Fountainhead Auto Museum.
Here in Fairbanks, Alaska.
We hear it's one of the best in the world. We'll go see. 1917 Mack truck.
That's a chain drive dump bed.
Ah.
It's got a drive shaft under it. This right here, it's got a PTO off a transmission, and that raises. It's got cables chained to a cable, and that raises the bed up to dump it.
Advanced Thresher Company.
That's a big old stream in
there. The Fountainhead has been voted one of the best auto museums in the world several times, and like most auto museums, they start off with your bicycles, your horseless carriages, your motorcycles, then they get into some more unique things like these minis that you see here. The museum is not the easiest thing to find in Fairbanks. It is on the grounds of the Wedgwood Resort, but it is behind the resort, so you have to drive through there, follow your GPS, you'll get there eventually. All the vehicles in this museum are pre-World War II. All but 3 are operable, and you could see them being operated on the grounds of the resort during the summer months. My favorite part was the Alaska Motoring History, also known as the Alaska Room. The centerpiece of the Alaska Room is the 1905 Sheldon Runabout, first and only car manufactured in Alaska. This was built by Bobby Sheldon out of random parts. We've got a marine engine and other parts, some from a Porter car. The tires are fire hose, all built without ever seeing another automobile except for pictures in newspapers and magazines, and this was built to get the attention of a local woman. It's a replica of the winning car that Robert Sheldon drove in Alaska's first automobile race.
July 5th, 1917, Robert Sheldon beat 5 other teams running 36-mile course in 1 hour and 10 minutes.
So they gathered original style parts from all over Alaska and built this replica. In the Alaska Room, they have a 1911 Everett set up for a photo op. Electric starter installed in the Chalmers Detroit after injuring his shoulder while crank starting. They say this is the 8th automobile to make it to Fairbanks, a 1908 Brush. Wooden body. Wheels are made out of hickory. A white steamer, and this one you can actually see the steam engine in. A Pope Toledo passenger touring, 7 passenger touring car. Says the first car to come to Fairbanks was one of these, a red one. Fountainhead Museum does a great job of having these vehicles spaced out so you can get in and see everything. Very well done, not jam-packed together like some of the other museums we've been in. They're also known for their period dress that they have along with the vehicles. There'll be mannequins with clothing from the era set up beside the cars. As you may have noticed, there are a lot of photographs on the walls in the museum that talks a lot about the history of the automobile in Alaska, as well as just about Alaska history. Don't forget, everything is more difficult in Alaska. 1810 Stanley Steam Roadster. We were here June of 2025. At that time, the museum was $20 per person. Well worth it. We spent a lot more time here than we ever expected to. We are going to do the Pioneer Park. The park entrance itself is free. They do say some of the museums in there may charge a nominal fee. So we're going to go see what we can find. We have a Gold Rush Town, a Palace Theater, Pioneer Museum. I don't know what Big Stampede is, a Native Village, Riverboat Nenana, Air Museum, Square Dance Hall, and a Rail Museum. This is one of the original engine.
Yes, this is
In
an
the area.
1899 HK Porter built in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Shipped down around South America up to St. Michael's out on the coast. Put on a stern wheeler, went up to Yukon River up to Dawson City in the Yukon. Worked there for 5 years pulling coal out of Coal Creek and Cliff Creek for their power plant. And then the Tanana Valley Railroad came up and bought the locomotive, shipped it down the Yukon up the Tanana River to the town called Chena, the first town in the interior of Alaska in 1903.
Wow.
They had 17 miles of track laid out in '05, and continued out to Chattanooga, which is 35 miles north of Fairbanks, where the gold fields were.
All about the gold.
All about the gold. You bet.
Yeah.
And in between this locomotive and two other locomotives we had, hauled the majority of the freight. They had 13 gold dredges out there. They got hauled out there, along with the extra boilers and things to thaw out the land and that, so that they could mine it.
Oh, I never thought of that. Had to thaw the land to do the mining because they want to keep it going year round.
Well, that was in springtime.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then, well, actually, if you were doing it in the wintertime, you would have built a fire in a hole and thawed out what you could, and then build another fire in the hole until you got it thawed out. If you were a cheap miner.
Yeah, I mean,
You know.
they figured everything out, but everything was harder in Alaska. That's what we've determined in our time up here. Every place we've stopped, everything was harder in Alaska. Building a railroad was hard,
Right.
but it was harder in Alaska.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Much harder.
Yeah.
With all the permafrost and everything.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you didn't know if you were on good ground or not. Also, they ran rail down to Tanana, which is on the Parks Highway on the Tanana.
We stopped there
Valley
today and did the railroad museum.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
mine.
That's yours too? Yeah? Yeah, we enjoyed it.
Good. So anyway, they survived until the Alaska Railroad got the trestle put across the river, the Mears trestle down in Tanana.
Okay.
They put a third rail out on our roadbed and came up here and bought us out.
So that was
And
the
that was
wider,
in
the
around-
standard gauge.
Right. So then, so they took this locomotive, put it downtown on display, and in '92 we formed the Friends of the Tanana Valley Railroad and brought it into the park, stripped it out, and put a new boiler on it, rewrapped the water tank, and put a new cab on it.
Okay.
Mr. Sperling, a cabinet maker here in town, built the cab for us to HK Porter specifications. He made it out of white oak, and when he got done with it, he donated it to us.
Oh, fantastic. It's beautiful. All right, I'm going to ring that bell.
All right.
Cool. Cool. How often do they run it?
Most holidays.
Holidays. Okay.
And unless somebody hires us to run for a day.
You run it next weekend? 4th of July?
No.
No?
No, we don't have enough volunteers actually this year.
Pioneer Park does run the Crooked Creek Whiskey Island Railroad around the park throughout the day. I think $8 per adult. We didn't ride, but we did get to watch it run through. This is the steamship Tanana, which used to work on the Tanana River. Tanana, okay. Only the first floor of the steamship is open to visitors, and it has, I guess, what you would call some dioramas set up showing what life was like along the river at the time that the steamship was operating. With a stack laid down, probably going under a bridge, a low bridge. You get an idea of the length of the wood that they used. The type saw they used back in the day. I think I just heard him say it was converted to oil in 1948. Original boiler was 30 feet long, 12 feet tall, and 78 inches in diameter. They worked 12-hour shifts feeding the fire with firewood. So the boiler was at the front of the ship, and the steam was transferred to the rear into this engine room. And then within the engine room, the steam was transferred to the part that actually drove the wheel. Those wooden beams. The Pioneer Museum in Pioneer Park does ask for donations if possible. It is just your typical pioneer museum, has a lot of tools and everything, the way of life of the pioneers in Alaska. Very interesting, good way to spend the afternoon. While in Pioneer Park, be sure to hit up the Pioneer Air Museum. I believe admission to this one was $5 per adult. Again, very worth it. Bush pilots and planes were a big part of Alaskan history and are still a big part of everyday Alaskan life. So this museum tends to focus on the bush planes, the engines that powered them, the communication systems they used, propellers, and anything bush plane related. This is President Harding's railroad car. Watch your step. The significance here is that Warren G. Harding used this railroad car in the process of driving the Golden Spike for the Alaska Railroad. I am standing where Warren G. Harding was standing when that picture was taken, on the back of the Denali car. His wife was here, the Secretary of State was here, and President Harding was right here with his hand on this rail. Pretty cool. Here at the Alaska Railroad Museum in Tanana, Alaska. Tanana, say that 3 times fast. Free museum right here at the end of Main Street.
A lot of interesting stuff in here.
We stopped here on our way to Fairbanks.
I said I did put some donation in the jar.
Okay. Got an old map here showing the path of the railroad from the coast and Seward.
No date on it.
Here. We've done a lot of museum tours and quite a few old train depots, and this one was impressive because the ticket office is actually open, and it's a very large space with a lot of artifacts in it that you just walk through and see, and everything's dated with a lot of explanation. This Alaska Railroad station along the Tanana River was a stop for the sternwheeler that we saw in Pioneer Park. Separate windows for tickets and freight. Yeah, it's just weird for us East Coasters to be here and just think about Alaska didn't get their statehood till 1959. That's the year Dave was born. This museum uses a lot of photographs and newspaper articles to tell the story. Here they're talking about the sled dogs in Nome. And here's an article and photograph. Walter G. Harding heading to Alaska to possibly drive the Golden Spike. And here's the story of the federal government transferring the Alaska Railroad to the state of Alaska. There's a plaque outside commemorating this. It's a replica of the one used July 15th, 1923.
Back in the day, look right here was the railroad track. They went down along which would have been the dock area. Right here was the dock where the steamship, steam battleship would have come in. All that's still intact.
Be sure to come along next week for our next big Alaska adventure. Before we close out, I just want to say a little bit about Pioneer Park. This is someplace that you can bring your RV in. I think it was $12 a night and do boondocking. There's no hookups, no water, nothing like that. But it did seem to be a pretty safe place to stay. It was quiet for us. I know there's a lot of reviews online about the noise on the streets, but it wasn't enough to bother us, once it started getting dark and everybody went in for the night. And then that also gives you easy access to Pioneer Park, which, like I said earlier in the video, was free. Lots of museums in there to see. There's some activities for kids. There's some stage shows that we didn't do. Just a fun place to hang out. We actually stayed here on our way through Fairbanks north and then on our way back before we headed over to Canada and back to the United States. And as always, let's keep rolling.